If you add tomorrow's troubles to today's, you give yourself an impossible burden.
And let me give you a little insight into my life. This is not public information.
You have to create discipline and consistency, and it's just like, take a baby step. And we're live.
We're live.
No teasers.
No teasers.
Some big
All right.
guest coming on soon.
Yeah. Get us where we were just coming from our pre-show talk.
Yeah, we were just talking about life and lots of different things there. And last night I read in Proverbs 23:4, do not toil to acquire wealth. Be discerning enough to desist. You know what desist means? I had to look it up.
I don't. What does it mean?
I'm going to look it up again.
The specific
it means
definition?
basically to like, I don't know. I'm going to
It
look.
sounds similar, and it sounds like it's going to be a similar meaning to resist, but obviously it's not.
To abstain.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
to
Similar.
resist, yeah.
And I just read that in the context of caring for my family, making financial decisions, having high ambition and drive for things and the things I pursue, whether that's a podcast or it's my full-time career or it was with golf. It's easy for the end result and what can come from success being my motivating factor instead of just doing the thing well and trusting that the Lord will bring the provision from it. Mm-hmm. And so I hadn't read that verse. I've read through Proverbs before, but it just stood out to me last night when I read it.
Yeah, it's a tough pill to swallow.
It's the antithesis of what you see when you watch YouTube or read leadership books or self-help books or look at your Instagram algorithm. It's like,
Yeah, I mean, one thing I think that's...
What are we chuckling about? Where are we going?
There's this guy I follow that is just the best, and he just makes fun of these unrealistic promises that influencers offer, and mostly in the real estate world. Like, you know, if it was me, I would buy, I'd take that $10,000 and I'd go get this loan that you can get now, and then I'd buy a duplex, $100,000 duplex.
Was this Brock?
That was not me.
And
I
then
don't do real estate then.
And then
That's not what you said today.
buy the duplex, live in one. So you owe $10,000. You just go buy the duplex.
Oh, it's house hacking.
Yeah, right. And then you live in one and you cash flow the other one, and then you do it 100 times. And then he's like, where are you looking for these houses in Afghanistan?
That they call that house hacking.
Okay.
And then isn't there some other word like Burr method or something that your boy, what's your boy?
Yeah, I don't know
The
what it's
10X
called.
method. What's his
Grant Cardone.
Yeah.
I was going to say what this guy says, but then we'd have to put an E by the episode, and so I didn't do that.
Oh, yeah.
I just
Good
kept
call.
it. Yeah.
People do that, though.
This is a family-friendly show.
People do that. They
They do, but the way that Grant
was
describes
too
is like,
easy.
to next it.
Yeah.
It's like, that is not how easy this
He's
is.
like, that song, he's like, the first property you should buy is 16 units. And you're like, the average price is $3 million. You're like, okay, I'm going to just go buy a $3 million.
Sounds great.
But
You got the cash?
that's crazy. No, to go back to your original point, I find it hard, especially just where I've been at over the last 6-7 years of my life. The correlation between working hard and glorifying the Lord and the gifts that you have and my passions being in the world of business or in some form of success being from a monetary value. Now, that does not mean that I think my mind has shifted because I feel like now I really care less about money, so to speak, today and more about recognition, which is also bad, right? We go into
People pleasing.
seeking opinions of men and, like you just said.
Since we're being raw on this episode, you still care about money.
No, it's not that I don't care about money, but I think what I'm saying is like today we talked about different things, and I don't not care about money. What I'm saying is though, at the end of the day, like sometimes if you make a lot of money and you're treated like crap, it's, you can probably tolerate it. If you're not making a ton of money and you don't get recognition or you're not enjoying it, and not saying that I'm not getting recognition, but I'm saying I feel like I'm realizing now that in this world, people it's becoming more of, for me, maybe that I want to be recognized or I want people to know who I am. And, the money's okay. But I mean,
one thing that really stood out to me that I've reflected on from our Kerry episode, which hopefully you've listened to that before you listen to this.
If not, go back.
Yeah. If not, check it out. Kerry Bradley, former president of the North American branch of Luxottica, Lens Crafters, Ray-Ban, Oakley, Sunglass Hut.
Mm-hmm. A few more. And
the one, presumably, Kerry made a lot of material wealth from his time doing that career. And it all just came as a result of just simple obedience where he was. And that was like the big thing I thought of was he said, have a perfect attendance record, proverbially.
That's where I was going. He said that when he got to the C-suite, that younger guy asked him, I think the younger guy asked him, like, how'd you get here? What's the secret? Perfect attendance.
Yeah.
Well, and
I think, go ahead.
Yeah, no, sorry. But it goes back to ambition. It's like he didn't, in terms of maybe a career that I would love to, he didn't own the business, but he ran the business. Mm-hmm. He was the top guy. He made the decisions. We don't obviously know. We believe what he said, but it does seem that he's genuine and that he really didn't want that, so to speak, and the opportunity just came because he showed up. So that's even more convicting of like, I continually want that and I'm seeking it out, and yet he got it and he didn't seek it out. Mm-hmm. And I think that's, maybe there's a lot of truth in that we could apply to all of our lives, not just in business. But
yeah, the sort of connecting points with this topic where I struggle personally is I joke that one of my spiritual gifts is pragmatism. So that's not a real spiritual gift, but I like to make things just kind of at the ground level. And I have to make money to live. And then it gets a little squirrely and fishy because I have
what's living
preferences and wants and right. So you have to discern those convictions and kind of what that is for your family. But at 35, go ahead.
I won't throw the number out because it would be disrespectful, I think, to certain people to hear this. Brock threw out an absurd number today of what would be the minimum he thinks he could live on without his wife working.
Would you be willing to share that for our audience?
I don't think it would be appropriate.
Okay.
I think people would not appreciate the number that he threw out. It would.
Wait, what?
This is news to Brock.
Wait, I didn't understand what you just said. Say it again.
He said that you threw out an absurd number for what it would take for you to feel comfortable if MJ did not work anymore.
Correct.
I mean, I don't know what the number would be, but Ian, I don't remember exactly what I said, to be honest with you, but you don't have to say the number. I think what I was getting at is that I also grew up in a different environment where, like, I grew up I was the oldest of 5 kids, so everything was tight growing up. But my parents put me in private school and they did all the things they could, but I didn't get to do all the extra stuff. So when I assumed
you were probably speaking about years down the road, whereas I was thinking you were talking about like if MJ was to have to quit tomorrow.
I'm thinking that I want
he wants like 12 children,
3 to 4 kids at least. I mean, that's just if the Lord gives me that.
All in Ivy League prep schools.
So that's what I was just thinking of in terms of
13,000 square foot house, lake house, beach house.
That's where
vacation budget.
That's where I was going. That's where I was going with tying what he said this morning into what you're saying. I think that there's a lot of ways we could go with what we need to live.
Yeah. Well, so let me just be transparent in my life. In my 20s, I made more money than I knew what to do with. Many people in the world have way more money than I do and did. But I played on the PGA Tour and they took great care of us, and equipment manufacturers give you a lot of money and you can do corporate deals and then you're playing for a lot of money. And so my parents, I think one of the greatest reflections of my adult life is to look back on the fact that I'm the oldest of 4. Mm-hmm. And we all got through college with no debt. Some of my siblings didn't go to a full 4-year college, but they left at 22 years old with no debt. We all had cars we drove and we took great vacations and we had what we needed. And and my mom never worked and my dad just did a great job at the credit union he's still at 30 years later. And I'm blown away by the fact that they took 4 kids and got us to adulthood in the position that we were in. It's amazing. Mm-hmm. And when I turned pro, I just was like so naive. Like, I'm just going to go out and make all the money in the world and do whatever I want and buy what I want and be who I want. And then I did it. And that was like the worst thing for my heart possible. Mm-hmm. Now, not to say that I didn't blow it on stupid stuff. I saved appropriately. I invested appropriately. But I think a big part of my story and why golf kind of went off the rails is because the Lord was kind enough to not let my head and my heart continue to go down that path. And so at 35, like, I'm in a position that I never thought I would be in at 26 with 4 children and private school and a mortgage. And now I've made negative dollars for, I'm going on 8 years in the red every single year. And it's stressful.
Has it really been 8 years in the red?
Like, significantly in the red.
8 years.
Because see,
I think in my mind, when I think of your story and I think of our friendship and all that, I don't really, even though I should know this, I don't really think about the last years of your golf career being in the red. I think about it starting when you quit golf and you started financial planning.
No,
I don't think about those years before.
Yeah, in 2018 was my last year on tour, and I mean, that was my worst year on tour was 2018. And I think my total earnings for the year between everything were probably close to $1 million. And then you go to the Korn Ferry Tour. And I think in 19, I missed getting my card back by 1 shot the last event of the year. And I think I made $70,000 that year. That's all in. That doesn't, like, that's on the course, off the course. Then you got to pay for travel and caddy and expenses, and then you still have a life off the course. And then it was less than that in 20 and 21 and 22 and 23. And so what I'm tying this all back to is, like, my mind goes pragmatically, I have to toil to acquire more wealth because now I have a life I have to pay for. And we've kind of like tried the best we can to navigate getting to this point with the uncertainty of a career in golf. But now it's kind of like, it's stressful, and I'm 8 years into bad golf and a new life and a new career. And so I read that, and it just is it's a reminder and a conviction to say, you've got to get to a place to where you just do the thing because it's where God has your feet, and it's because you like it, and or maybe you don't even enjoy it. Maybe it's just where you're supposed to be faithful. Like, I'm sure there's people that, like,
that's where He has you.
I'm grateful to have jobs that I actually enjoy. And I've had jobs, and I have a job I enjoy. But like Genesis chapter 3, work becomes toil and it's difficult. And so that's kind of what was all laying on me when I read that last night. I was like, oh, don't toil for wealth.
Can you lean into that a little more for our listeners and for us? Cause we got on so many tangents off air, just like the past few days. Walk us through your heart behind that. You know, you said the end of the month is a lot for you. Can you just talk about it?
Yeah. I kind of live in this ignorant state of bliss where I just like check out and don't think about finances for the first 3 weeks of the month. And then bills come due and the tuition payments due and
it's October 28th as we're speaking.
Dang it. I thought it was like the 21st. Shoot.
It went by
more
fast.
stress.
This month went by fast.
I'm convicted that this came to me a few years ago, that Christians and Christian brothers, like close brothers like you guys and Zach standing here on the backside of the camera.
We need to get Zach on that seat.
I know we've tried. He's beautiful. He's smiling back there behind the camera. He won't do it. We'll get him on at some point.
It'll happen.
Christians talk about struggle with sexual sin. They'll talk about relational issues, gossip, church drama, work, whatever it may be. Like, God calls us to be open and live lives of transparency, but finances is kind of like this, like faux pas thing. And I mean, you have to have some discretion there. People walk in different socioeconomic statuses, all that type of stuff. But I think that's just like, that's a point that hits everyone really well, or it touches everybody at the same place. Some people do it really well. Some people don't do it well. And I walked in a state of complete naivete and just fantasy land for 10 years. And I'm now having to like learn things at 35 that most people learn at 23. To the point of living
with kids too.
Yeah. To the point of living in the negative. I've also, when I was a professional golfer, I never paid for country club dues. I was a free member at every country club I played at.
Like legitimate, this is good for me to learn. I didn't know this. Legitimately, you were a member, or you could just show up and play wherever?
Yeah, I mean, they treated me like a full member. I had a member number. I could.
Okay, yeah.
They treated you like you were famous.
Yeah. Okay. Auburn specifically is, let me just shout out the country club scene in Auburn. Two are privately owned, SOGs owned by the members. They loved me so well and were so kind to me during my professional career. They love having alumni around. I was obviously gone most of the year, so there was no like possibility of abuse from my standpoint, but just, I literally paid like $100 a month combined to be a member at the clubs in Auburn for the entirety of my career. And it's just because they were generous and they liked having the pros around. And I mean, there was only a couple of us, but, I'm super grateful and I want to shout that out because it was awesome.
However,
and then when I stopped playing, I reached out, I tried to lead the front there and say like, hey, I'm done playing. I would love to fit in where I can and do this appropriately. And they were all gracious to kind of roll me into standard membership, which was awesome. But like, that's an expense I never had as a pro. And that's now a critical part of just networking in my adult life now. So it felt, and it's such a foundational part of my life, period, in my backstory that it's important. So that was an easy expense we could cut, but I'm like, I just can't, it doesn't make any sense to do that. It's kind of silly. I bought too many vehicles.
Can we get raw, or do you want
as raw as you want.
Do you have all three still?
Yeah, I stayed at all three because, for various reasons, the golf teams at AU Club, and the Thompsons and the Herrings and the neighbors, the ownership up there, just they've been so great to me. I tried to pay Mike multiple times when I was on tour. I was like, Mike, I will be a paying member. He's like, Blayne, we love having you here. You're good. You don't owe us anything. But the team's there, so I play with the team a lot. It's close. It's 5 minutes from the house. So if I take the kids to hit balls, whatever, it's really close. Sagahatchee is a wonderful club, different style of golf course. That's probably the youngest, like biggest group of young players from 30 to 45. Always good people you can go out there and play with. And I love the golf course. It's just different than AU Club. A little shorter. Greens are a little bit different. And then Moores Mill was great. I was going to, because of the proximity to the other side of town, that one was going to be the first to go, but the Clevelands they kind of worked me into a special deal, and the pool, the amenities at Moores Mill are the best. And it's also like, for me to be able to do business and interact in my life past golf and just be like, hey, let's go play. Where do you live? Or where have you not played? Like, it just makes sense business wise. So yes, it's been a constant conversation piece. Trust me. This is another.
Blayne's an open book. I'm gonna keep asking.
Yeah, you keep asking all these questions.
This is fun.
This is great. For Tom Shepard's family auto group up in Indiana, buy a car from Tom. He will literally. It's not like buying a vehicle. It's like buying a binder from the grocery store. It's just like straightforward. This is how much it costs. We'll take care of you, and he'll drive it to you. Just drop it off at your front door, sign the paperwork, and he's gone.
Did you just get a new car?
No, but that's how Tom works. He was my sponsor when I was on tour. What I was getting to was, they were kind through our deal. The logo's on that bag back there. Shepherd's GM right there. Morgan drove a brand new GMC to Yukon Denali XL. Like, he would bring us a brand new one. We'd put 12,000 miles on it, and he'd swap it out.
Wow.
And so I paid for one vehicle, which I just paid cash for years. And then I stopped playing, and we had to buy Morgan a car. And it's like, all right, well, that was really not, I had way more money. I could have bought whatever car I wanted. Now I don't make as much money, and now I got to buy a car. All that to say, my point was, and then kids, you're figuring out education, all this stuff. Like my my income has continued to go, it's kind of leveled a little bit, but it's gone this direction, and the expenses have just continued to go this direction. We have 4 kids, and we're not like out pursuing like a nicer life and anything. It's just lost and started kindergarten. And
4 kids, that's expensive.
Yeah. So,
but I think we talked about this with Shanker. It's like,
I don't have the answers,
but you look back and you've had great years with your family. Your kids probably don't know any the wiser that you were stressed about buying that car. I mean,
yeah, that's right.
When we sit here and talk about it, yeah, that's pretty crazy that your income was up, down, and the expenses start to go up as the income goes down. But you're still here.
Yeah,
and
but yeah, we're here,
which is cool. I mean, truly to see the Lord work in that, I think.
Yeah. Last thing I'll say, just kind of on that point. I said this. I sat in here earlier today and recorded an episode that may or may not go out, just kind of detailing my golf story and like down in the weeds, because there are some things I wanted to share.
Blayne starting his own golf podcast. Coming soon
under the Entrusted umbrella. But what I very clearly, I'm convinced of this. I don't have any proof of it, but I think the Lord allowed me to experience what I wanted. In a lot of ways, it was very kind of him to just let me fulfill a childhood dream. And I did something really cool for a few years. But I think he kind of let that happen just so I could just duke it out for an extended period of time. That
with yourself, or what do you mean duke it out?
Just with sanctification, trusting him, being a better financial steward, just putting a lot of work and blood and sweat and tears into golf and getting nothing out of it for years, 6 years, 5 years. And if I wouldn't have had that success early in my career, I may have had to quit earlier and not like got the full dose of humility or just that work in me that I needed to. And so those years of excess sort of allowed the years of drought to do its work. In some part, because I'm still a mess, but
we're getting super deep, and I'm the one that's drawing.
That's what
so
this
you
is
tell
for.
me, you tell me to stop.
That's what's for.
If I need to stop,
Too much.
But I think this is actually a really good question.
Okay, well that's pretty.
That people would not my. You know what I mean. In these years where you are in the red, how has your tithe looked? Because you're not really, there's no income to tithe on. What does
These are good questions.
What does that look like?
It's a really great question. I have committed. I think one of my spiritual gifts is generosity. It is one of the greatest joys in my heart. No specifics are needed, but there was a year in one of the higher earning years where by God's grace, we were able to give away almost like half of our net income. Just because I genuinely like it's a way that I find joy and want to just display God's love tangibly toward people who need it. And so because this is a difficult question from the day I turned pro, because there is no planning as a professional golfer. You have no idea how much money you're going to make. The taxes are absurd. And I think it's in Proverbs where is it where it speaks of the first fruits of all your produce?
I don't remember. I know what you're talking about.
Oh, I think it's Proverbs 3. Proverbs chapter 3. But anyways, the point.
Got the Bible right there. Pull it up.
Keep going.
Early in my professional career, I made and I don't think that this is not prescriptive for anyone. It was a conviction for me and for Morgan.
But before you keep going, I think that's why I wanted to ask you this, because I think that there are so many different ways you can go about your giving, your tithing.
Yes. Because the tithe is not a New Testament principle.
Is it pre-tax? Is it after tax?
Yes.
All that stuff.
Yes.
And honestly, I just don't think people talk about it enough because money is such a sensitive subject. And honestly, we idolize it so much that we give it more importance than it really has. And so then therefore we're not vulnerable enough about.
I'm getting more and more uncomfortable as we go into this, but this is great. I like uncomfortable situations.
I'm putting you there. So
this is sort of like
stop me.
Sort of like a therapy session. This is great. Yes, I think let's step back for just a second and say the New Testament ethic for giving is generosity. Paul's very clear. The Lord loves a cheerful giver. Give out of the overflow of your heart. Jesus doesn't put any sort of like strict speculation on it or stipulation on it. And the tithe is an Old Testament principle that's not really 10% anyways. It's like tithe means 10%. And so it would have actually been more. So there's literally stewardship, being entrusted with stuff, finances. It's all God's. And he wants you to live in a way to where you leverage that for his purposes. So I
would love to do a deep dive episode at some point where we just actually all study biblical giving and tithing.
Yeah, could be great.
Because that is such a big part of our stewardship.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I've told myself so many times I want to study it, and I've never pushed myself, but now we have the platform, might as well give it a shot sometime, but keep going.
So we live in this house. We built it, chose the plan, designed it. If you pick your home solely for the comfort it provides or for the features you can show off or the games and the toys and the fun you can throw into it, probably not the most steward-minded thinking. We built it so that when people come to town, if they need a place to stay, we can shuffle kids around real quick, and we got multiple open bedrooms. We have enough space downstairs where we can have groups of college students in here, 30, 40, 50, 60 students sometimes. That's just an idea of like, could I have taken some money from building this house and given it to some organization? Yes. But like the mind of owning the home was, how can we use it to be leveraged?
Well, I just want to encourage you in that too. Not to hype you up too much, but I think I've told you this before, but the very first time I came over for a Saturday shred, and you had all the guys over here.
That was our That was our old workout group on Saturdays.
Okay, I still call it that.
No, that's what it is, but
right.
It died.
But anyway,
not because of you.
When I came the first time for that, all the kids were out there. We opened up the workout with prayer. There was a guy that was going through some career issues himself, and you were speaking life in him throughout the workout, and you just clearly opened up your house to us that day. And I went home and I called, at that point, it was my girlfriend, now my wife, Summer, and I was like, if we're blessed one day to have a house like this, I want to use it well to open up our house to people and just be light through our house and through the what the Lord's given us. And that was really encouraging to me.
Thanks.
So you're not just saying it, you're doing it.
I appreciate that.
Was a podcast studio on your playbook?
Yeah. Was that on your list of things to do with this house?
Sometimes you got to pivot. Sometimes you got to pivot.
Because here we are.
It turned out great.
Paint the walls and here we are. So
Proverbs 3:9, honor the Lord with your wealth and with the first fruits of all your produce.
Yeah. So I'm not saying that's what this means, but we were like, if I finish 10th at the waste management and I make $100,000, I'm setting aside a percentage of the $100,000. And then Arizona, well, no state income tax. The Fed's taking some of it. Alabama's, well, I don't know how that worked. I'm not a CPA. But like I'm tithing off the gross because that just gives me more buffer to be more generous. And then that's what the Lord gave me. And then I'm not determinant of what tax rates are that given year.
So you're saying trash pays well?
Yes. Waste management. Haha. I wish I knew the button that was a da-da-da and I'd click it. So that was a determination we set. That percentage has fluctuated over time as good years, bad years, up years, down years. But even in, there's been real conversations where like we could give less right now, but I know that the Lord will honor that. I don't have to, like, I'm not doing it to get anything from it. I'm doing it because I truly believe that if you seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, the other stuff will be added to you.
I love that you bring that up because when you finish what you're talking about, I've got a lot to say on that passage.
Perfect. So this is not prosperity theology where like if I sow $1,000 seed to some stupid pastor on the TV telling you to do that, you'll get $3,000 back. But it is a legit scriptural principle that live generously, as the New Testament calls us to do as Christians, and God will provide your needs. And what I've told Morgan multiple times is, if at 26 you would have told me how the Lord was going to provide for my needs from 28 to 35, I said, nope, got no interest in that. Mm-hmm. It's just felt like depletion. But that's the means by which the Lord has. I funded 401ks that most people don't have at that age. That when you're self-employed, you can put away a lot in self-funded 401ks for you and your spouse if they're like an employee of the LLC, et cetera.
And the employer side.
And I'd never wanted to touch those things till I was retired when I was 65. And so it would seem strategically like that didn't work out, but that's how the Lord chose to provide for us. And you know what? I hope the U.S. government's pleased with me because I've given them a lot of penalties and fees in having to pull out retirement accounts early. But so that's just the, we have stuck to that. It's changed. The numbers changed. But convictionally, how I feel about that as well, if we bump the number down at times or up, is I've tried to give in excess so that like, and I'm also a perfectionist, so I can become very legalistic with like, this number is different than it's like, the Lord knows my heart and he knows what we've given. And like, if I gave enough excess over the course of the 7 years, like there's a few months where it's different. Like I'm not, that's still my heart. So. Entrusted is brought to you in part by Primo Golf Apparel. Based out of Utah and built on a simple belief: golfers are athletes. When I first partnered with Primo, I was proud to be their first ever professional ambassador because what they were doing wasn't just about fashion, it was about function. They were among the first to introduce golf joggers to the game, and they changed how golfers thought about performance wear. Today, Primo's lineup goes way beyond joggers, from polos to outerwear to shorts to leisure wear that actually moves with you. Every piece is designed for golfers who train, grind, and compete, whether that's in the gym, on the range, or in life. So, if you want to look sharp, move freely, and represent what it really means to be an athlete on and off the course, check out Primo Golf Apparel. You can visit primogolfapparel.com and use code ENTRUSTED for 15% off your next order. Primo Golf Apparel. Golfers are athletes.
So I want to take you to that Matthew passage.
Take us there. Matthew chapter 5. 6.
6. And let me give you a little insight into my life. This is not public information, but by the time this podcast goes out, it will be. My wife is pregnant. Summer is pregnant.
Oh my goodness. Congratulations.
Yep.
Wow.
So 7 months into marriage, you can do the math. That wasn't quite our time. That was not our plan. But we're 11 and a half weeks.
You figured
now.
it out, buddy.
I did.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It is. It's exciting.
Wow. Okay.
So not public, but it will be by the time it's released.
You better check with Miss Summer before we release his podcast.
It'll be public by then.
Yeah.
But all that to be said,
I already knew. That's why there was no reaction.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for clearing that up. I had no idea. When you said it, I thought that's what it was going to be.
You knew where I was going.
That's awesome. Praise the Lord. Be fruitful and multiply.
Exactly. But as y'all know, I am such a planner. And
that's about to change.
Yeah.
Because you're having a kid.
That's right. It already has because the kid was not in my plans for 2026.
Yeah.
But it is such a gift from the Lord. I'm so excited. But where I found myself is now I'm still trying to control, obviously. You know, we ultimately, we cannot control, and the Lord continues to remind me that I can't control, but here I am. I spent the last 2 hours of my day before I came home trying to control every little detail of making sure we're ready to roll for the next 9 months. And man, I worked myself into a spiral. I just think I feel a lot of pressure. There's a lot of good to this, but there's also a lot of control and there's a lot of pride in this. But I feel this pressure to make enough to where Summer can stop working.
Mm-hmm. What's that number?
And I'm not there right now.
Yeah.
And so I sat there for 2 hours trying to crunch, like, what can I do to get there? What do I need to do in my job to get to that point? Or, you know, how can we at least minimize her work? And I just kept running it, and I've got a good foundation. thankfully the cobbler's kids have no shoes thing isn't really applying to me right now. Thankfully, I've done good planning for myself like I do for my career. But I just sat there thinking of every possible bad thing that could happen. What if the child has to go to the NICU, or, what if something happens? We just, my transmission went, actually that was a heck of a week. Found out that we were pregnant.
That probably felt real good.
About a week before, and then the transmission went out as I'm already kind of freaking out about all those costs.
Yeah.
Then there goes another couple thousand down the drain. But I just worked myself into this stress, and it's just so ironic how forgetful we are, because Matthew 6. So I've got this good friend of mine who's in my wedding, Will Hull. We have challenged each other, and you actually were kind of a encouragement in me wanting to do this. We have challenged ourselves to learn and memorize more scripture. I feel like that's something you've got down pretty good. And I can paraphrase a lot, and I can kind of think about a lot and then search it up, but I don't really have a whole lot memorized. And so we've challenged each other to do that. This is our second week, and we're doing Matthew 6, 30 through 34, but I'm going to read the whole thing because this was just, therefore I tell you, do not be anxious about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, nor about your body, what you will put on. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing? Look at the birds of the air. They neither sow nor reap nor gather into barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not of more value than they? And which of you, by being anxious, can add a single hour of his span of life? And why are you anxious about clothing? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin. Yet I tell you, even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. But this is the part we're memorizing. But if God so clothes the grass of the field, which today is alive and tomorrow is thrown into the oven, will he not much more clothe you, O you of little faith? Therefore do not be anxious, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, what shall we wear? For the Gentiles seek after these things, and your heavenly Father knows you need them all. But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. Therefore, and this is the part that really gets me. Therefore, do not be anxious about tomorrow, for tomorrow will be anxious for itself. Sufficient for the day is its own trouble. And that just it is tough for me. I told Summer as soon as I got home, it's just ironic, and we have to give ourselves grace. And I get in this circle of like, I got anxious, and then I look at my desk and I've written down this verse where I'm trying to memorize it, because I try to write it every day as a part of my memory strategy. And I'm like, I just read that 5 times today, and here I am getting anxious about tomorrow. Tomorrow is anxious for itself. Sufficient for the day is its own trouble. I had plenty today I could have worked on and worried about, but instead I was worried about what's going to happen in 9 months. And I let that be an issue today. And not just trust the Lord. And I'm even hearing like the seasons you've gone through, and he's still provided, and you're still here, and your 4 kids are clothed. And I think it's so frustrating how we forget that.
Mm-hmm. One of my favorite pages in any book outside of the Bible is these few paragraphs I'm about to paraphrase for you right here. This is amazing. Okay. This is the Preaching the Word series. It's a great,
oh my gosh,
commentary series on.
That is my go-to commentary.
Various books of the Bible. This is from the Sermon on the Mount. So it's actually one volume that's just Jesus' sermon from chapter 5 to chapter 7 in Matthew. And it basically goes from verse 34, and it says, tomorrow, the future, anything in the future, will have trouble. It's unavoidable. No Christian should ever be caught in what we call the then syndrome. Then things are going to be trouble-free. When I get married, when I get a promotion, it is futile to try to live a problem-free life. We live in a broken world. It's going to happen. Tomorrow will have its challenges and trials, no matter how hard you try to prevent them. So regardless of what Grant Cardone's telling you to do with your money to 10X it, you will have problems. Yeah. So this is what George MacDonald says. This is just absolute gold. No man ever sank under the burden of the day. It is when tomorrow's burden is added to the burden of today that the weight is more than we can bear.
That's exactly what I did today. Summer was getting on me, like in a good way. She was holding me accountable because she was like, well, how was the rest of your day? I was like, it was awesome. Like I had a great day. And then everyone left the office and I was there by myself and I just started looking at the budget and started looking at how much a baby was going to cost and all those things. And I ruined a great day worrying about the next day.
Yep.
I've added that burden on to today. And then it was like, y'all saw when I came in here, I was dejected. It was just terrible.
So this is the last paragraph. Worrying does not enable you to escape evil. It makes you unfit to cope with it. The truth is we always have the strength to bear the trouble when it comes, but we do not have the strength to bear worrying about it. If you add tomorrow's troubles to today's, you give yourself an impossible burden. So the promise of Philippians 4, 6, and 7 is do not be anxious about anything. So we all read that and we go, well, I've failed because I've been anxious. But the anecdote is, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God.
I told you he's got scripture memorized.
And the peace of God will guard your heart and your mind in Christ Jesus. So what that verse says is not, don't worry about it. And I'm going to shift your direction and we're going to go around it. We'll be fine. It's no, I'm going to guard you in it. You'll be fine. You have enough grace to walk through the trouble of today. I'm not giving you the grace for tomorrow. So if you do that, you're on your own. Good luck. And that's Jesus' promise to us. And so we have the grace for it.
It's also, here's the other thing that's even, if we want to go a level deeper cut on this, we seek comfort so much in our culture. And we were talking about this earlier. Our standard of what we need is ridiculous. Like when I'm stressing out about the next 9 months, I'm factoring in that I want to keep the Netflix subscription. I want to keep the Sunday ticket subscription. I want to go to all the Auburn sporting events I can, like all those things. Those are great things, but how out of whack and how out of place are those in my life if I'm going to stress myself out and go home to dinner with my wife in a terrible mood because I'm worried that we won't be able to afford that next year. Because ultimately, even from a practical, the Lord's going to provide no matter what, but even from a practical standpoint, the food's going to be on the table. All things considered, I could lose my job, but in a normal situation, the food's going to be on the table. It's going to be some of those more comfort things that I'm going to have to give up. And I let that ruin my day. And that is a heart check.
Yep. I was in a similar place today. Yeah. I kind of was just melancholy and it's October 28th.
And why am I really going to care about watching Netflix when my 6-month-old child is crying?
Yep.
Probably not.
No.
Think about it.
Well, you may want to get away from the 6-month-old child crying. You may want to go watch Netflix. So that's just kind of a subjective take there. But no, I'm kidding.
It's just, I even got to thinking about the guests that we've had on. We've had you who played in the PGA, and that wasn't enough. You had NFL player. That wasn't enough. You had a CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company, and that wasn't enough.
Actually, the funny one about that is that was enough, but it was enough when he had nothing. He always was just content. That was the kicker on that one.
Yeah.
And then you had a guy that, it's done really well in YouTube world, and,
There's a constant pressure of making the next thing is good. Yeah. He spoke about that for sure. Yeah.
So
I tell you another one.
It doesn't get easier as you seek out.
So the problem solving for you is going into the budget where my heart goes awry. And it's not even, it's good motives and it's back to pragmatism is where Proverbs 23, do not toil for wealth hits me is I'm just like, okay, well, I'll solve the problem by just making more money.
Yeah.
I'm not changing anything. This is bound to turn around. I can't miss 8 cuts in a row. Like this is not going to happen. I'm bound to make more money. And so I just try to solve the problem by like working harder or doing more things or pursuing more opportunities. And instead of like navigating in those painful parts of like, where could we cut back or whatever. So Yeah, I feel that.
And this goes back to the perfect attendance and what Kerry was saying about just being where your feet are and how he just showed up every day trying not to get fired. I mean, there's so many hours, minutes, days that I've spent stressing or thinking about how I can make another dollar and not just being where my feet is and stewarding what the Lord's given me right now. Mm-hmm. And I think about when Kerry was talking about how he viewed every job he had, he viewed as him trying to do the best he could for whoever his boss was and to further the company for them. And even when he got to the very top of the North American branch, he was like, I just wanted, I was not the owner. I was the president, but I wasn't the owner. And all I wanted to do was every day show up and steward that role well for that guy. And to be quite honest, and I literally was thinking about that today, Kerry saying that, because the last thing on my mind today was how can I do better for my boss? It was how can I make more money?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's important. Because you're stewarding what you've been given by your boss.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you're subject to their authority and you're trying to cultivate what they're giving you to cultivate. And so, it's tough.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. I would say that one thing I heard the other day that was interesting, definitely in my experience too, where I have probably, and my boss knows this, but I have definitely pushed the boundaries of what I probably want to do versus what he needs me to do. So
I would never do that.
Yeah. But it is interesting because I think, that was good hearing Kerry's side of the story of just like, this is where you're at. This is what needs to be done for the company, and that's what I'm going to do. And so that was good. It was good because I do find myself, especially as somebody that has been part of a startup and helped build part of the company in some aspects, or at least I think I have, that's obviously just pride because ultimately you're part of a team. So not one person can individually do one thing, but I think that's where with Kerry's story, it's like, it's not about you. And we live in such a world where we try to make everything about you. And that's where I've been for a long time. So, and still am trying to figure that out. But it's just that's something that really was good to hear, that it's not about you. So
how good is God though? I don't look for the signs or all the different things in every little bit, but I do think he shows us himself in our day-to-day life. I mean, here we are, we're all coming in to record this episode and all three of us just down today over these very things, worrying about tomorrow's issues tonight and not leaning on him.
This has brought me a lot of joy.
Yeah. I mean, it's so simple.
I had a miserable day internally.
Me too.
I internally all day.
Internally,
I faked it.
That's the thing. Internally,
I crushed it at the gym this morning. I was pissed.
That's the thing. Internally, I mean, we were all anxious about tomorrow.
That's right.
All of us. I mean,
yeah.
And here it is. It's so simple. We're just talking about it. I'm going to go home and I hope Summer's still awake because I'm going to be like, hey, I'm sorry I was in such a bad mood at dinner, but
let me repent.
We had a great conversation and life's going to go on.
Amen.
So how good is God in that?
Yeah.
And in so many other things, but specifically I feel so encouraged by that. It's pretty cool.
Oh,
agreed. So let's take a hard right. We're at the stoplight. It's a good juncture. We're going to turn right here. We're going to turn right on Fitness Lane real quick.
Oh, goodness.
Let's talk about, we hinted at this a little bit in the Schenker episode. Go back and listen to that. John was great. John Samuel Schenker. So we got Brock, who's now a world-class runner, pursuing that.
You got to let that one go. He's done with the running.
He's pursuing that.
You got him off on episode 1.
You got me off of running.
We're gonna get you.
Told him it was bad for his joints.
No, I'm walking every day.
First of all, let's.
Under
when
15 minute
When
pace.
did I tell you to not run?
He was telling you that he had been doing the 1 mile a day thing.
Yeah,
he was
which
running
is stupid.
There you go again.
Exactly.
You just did it again.
But like, all we have to do is program it correctly. We need to systematize it.
Well, then
and it's great for you. But 1 mile a day isn't going to do anything. Your body's going to just be like, oh, this is what I do. I run a mile every day.
And now we're back to square one. This is how he got off.
So yeah, but what you did is you just jumped off the ship in the middle of the ocean. Let's just pump the brakes. Let's get to shore, make a plan, and then.
So I'm not passionate about running though. That's where I think it's hard.
Yeah.
Are you passionate?
I'm not
about,
either.
About
No, so
any
like,
is there a specific kind of fitness you are passionate about?
The hard thing is like I haven't ever been passionate about fitness. Mm-hmm. At one point in time, senior year.
And you felt like running was your entryway there.
No, I don't know. I just I kind of was like, I'm gonna start running, and then I did it for a week, and it was great. But then we had the conversation, and then I kind of went on a rabbit hole of how bad it is for your joints if you run every single day, and then the whole.
No, okay. Let me be very clear on what I was saying.
No, it's not just you. I did research on it.
No, I know, but I'm not saying that.
Okay.
What I was saying, I probably was too sarcastic and jarring about it. What I was saying is, if you just do a small amount of volume, the same thing every day, you're going to get your heart rate up. You're going to sweat, but your body will stop adapting to the stimuli because you're doing the same thing every day.
For sure.
It's not a joint thing. It's not like you will get some fitness out of it, but it's better if you go like a really long run on Tuesday and then maybe push the pace on a 1 mile run on Thursday. And then the next week do a 5K on a day. And then like variability just throws like constant signals to your body and your nervous system and your metabolic system to where you're like going to create adaptation, which is what you want. You're going to lose fat.
I think he wants to do more strength training though.
Yeah, I think I want to transition into strength training. I did enjoy, despite how I felt the other morning.
Today, I did
that.
heavy squatting and running all at the same time. It was brutal. You can do it all together. This is a package deal.
That's what we did at your house when
that's what we did when we threw up. Yeah, so
and he liked it.
I did like it.
Yeah, so we had a fun little 2-man team workout a couple weeks ago, and Ben and Brock pushed the pace, and right near the end, Brock got to the end of the driveway.
I thought that I had another set.
Yeah, that lactic acid started filling up in his body. He wasn't feeling great. That barbell was getting heavy.
And I wasn't about to do the last set with that on my stomach.
So we got out into the yard, and he let loose.
And to my relief,
the demons were released.
But that was the last set, so I didn't have anything afterwards.
Hey, you finished strong though. He sprinted. He brought it home.
I did run home.
He did. Any of you fitness junkies out there, we did a little team DT, which DT is a CrossFit workout, power cleans. Hey, deadlift, hang power cleans, and put shoulder to overhead push press.
Speaking of fitness junkies, you're going straight into the fitness junkie influencer role.
I know.
The post, I mean, you were looking jacked.
The 6-pack ab, did you notice that? I mean, like,
the lighting, I mean, it was
the pictures. So
it was like straight up like
CTP.
Chris Bumstead.
He may have had an 8-pack ab, honestly. I don't really know. It was like...
Let's get raw here, okay? I buried it deep in the post. CTP, Chris is 3 posts deep.
Yeah, you did post a lot. You did post. I mean, you wouldn't just post one. You posted a few.
Well, it was a sequence of like in the workout. So I go over to training think tank.
Shirt was off, guys. It was like...
It's a CrossFit gym. You got to take your shirt off. It's a functional thing. Shirt gets in the way. So I went over there to finalize the program for Iron Tribe doing this fitness workshop event in a couple weeks. And
we got to get Brock to Iron Tribe. That's what
I know. We need to. Iron Tribe.
I'm
going in the morning.
Would I fit in there? I don't know.
100%.
I don't know about that.
So we walk in, and Chris is their head media guy. He runs their YouTube channel, takes all their pictures, does all their. He's an amazing media guy. And so I just meet with Max, and he takes some fun pictures of Max and I finishing the stuff sitting at a conference table. And then Travis is a CrossFit Games athlete, and he's my age. He's been to the CrossFit Games like 12 times, I think, just a complete stud, and kind of at the back end of his career. And we were going to do this workout, which was a qualifier workout for a competition. And so we just start doing the workout, and then Chris is like taking pictures of it. He's like popping around the gym, like low angle shots. And like,
we noticed there was an angle.
And
Lighting too. They had a couple of these lights like we have.
No, they don't. Here. They don't have any of these lights. But then he sent me these really professional images, and I was like, I gotta highlight Chris's professionalism. Right. And so, and honestly, the picture of Travis and I upside down doing wall walks together is like, that'd be like Travis is a golf nut. It'd be like Travis playing 9 holes with, I'm not gonna make a reference to a player because I don't know if that would disparage. It'd be like playing 9 holes with a PGA Tour player. Like, I love CrossFit. I've been a fanboy of Travis far before we became friends. And so doing wall walks next to this guy that I've admired from afar for a long time, it was cool. So,
did you see Blayne?
I didn't see that guy in the third picture though. Did you?
No, I did not either.
Whatever.
But did you see the stretching?
Leave me alone.
The stretching that Blayne was doing. Stretching is good for you.
I didn't. Tell
Very
us
good.
about it.
I don't know much about it.
Can you give us a live demo?
No, I cannot. But I just remember before every football game, we had this guy named Yomani come in. Yomani. And he would, we'd spend an hour stretching.
Yeah.
And it was like the greatest. It was awesome. But I just noticed that you were really stretching on those videos.
The post.
What did Yomani have to do with that?
I just was saying because I've noticed that the stretching is
when I was doing
crucial.
Yomani, I hope you're watching this. Shout out
He's
Yomani.
Probably not watching.
Yeah.
But I'm saying he said you have to stretch before. I'm assuming you have to stretch before you go play golf. Is that what you were saying? Or stretches that were good for your?
Yeah, it's more like activation. Getting your blood flowing, moving, like mobility, core. It's not like static stretching. You can almost kind of like hurt yourself if you just go straight into static stretching. But there's an element of, when I started working out until now, like there's been a pretty dramatic transformation, and I'm not trying to like run around with my shirt off around Auburn. But there's just like, there's a level of gratitude there and a humility to be like, I could get in a car crash tomorrow and lose my legs and never work out again. And so it's not a show off, but it's also a like, hey, I'm going to give you fitness advice at this workshop. And like, I believe in it. I practice it.
It's working.
There's just
the proof's in the pudding.
Yeah. But it's not that as much as like, I'm not just telling you to do a certain thing. Like, I'm doing it. I'm trying to do it, and I care deeply about it. And so, anyways, I don't do anything without overthinking it at all. And so that was one of those things that I overthought a lot. You're making fun of me. So
no, I will say that I'm not making fun of you. It takes a lot to be able to put that out there, and people think it doesn't, but it does.
Chris gets all the credit. Great lighting.
But
amazing
anyway,
camera. What kind of camera was that, Zach? It's a great camera.
But anyway, I'm proud. I'm proud to sit next to somebody that post that on. I am. It is. Hey, steps.
You keep showing up on Saturdays.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we need to start like a video sequence of me working out and see if Blayne can get me jacked.
That might be.
Because I have the genetics, guys. I do have the genetics. I just have to.
That might be how we get our sponsorship. We make this a series.
Oh, that would be good, wouldn't it?
A transformation.
I actually like the guy that started Iron Tribe. He don't know him really, but
Derek.
No, the one that started.
Forrest.
Yes,
Forrest Walden just sold it like a month ago.
Oh, did he?
Sold the whole. Yeah, wow. He sold it to like the guy that owned the most franchises out of Nashville, bought the whole thing from Forrest. But
cool.
He's a good guy, Auburn cheerleader.
Maybe he could be somebody we have on the podcast.
Great idea. I can. Yes.
Got a few good ideas.
Forrest.
Now and then.
Hit us up.
He's coming to you. You're coming to him.
But maybe we do that. Maybe we try. Maybe we look at doing a sponsorship to where my transformation. See how
that'd be sick.
If I can get CrossFit jacked.
Hey, this is for everyone. This is for you and for every single person that hears this. People, there are extremely unfit, unhealthy people that are intimidated to walk into a gym, an Iron Tribe or a CrossFit gym or the D1 training in Auburn now or Orange Theory or Planet Fitness, whatever. Like if you step foot in the door, that's a win. Mm-hmm. And you have to start somewhere. I mean, there's things I do in the gym now that I look so stupid trying to do 10 years ago. And you have to create discipline and consistency. And it's just like, take a baby step, take a baby step, take a baby step. And showing up's the first thing. So,
well, before we end, to that point, I used to drink 3 sodas a day.
Yeah, those more. Abs that he made, those were made in the kitchen.
Huh? Or more. Yeah,
those were made in the kitchen, not the CrossFit gym.
No. Yeah. So cold turkey stopped 4 weeks ago.
Headaches?
Nope.
Wow.
6 cavities.
Oh.
Well, 6 cavities.
You got to drink those again. You got to start drinking those again so you don't have all these cavities.
I don't know what happened. I really don't. I've never had a cavity in my entire life, and then all of a sudden I have.
Are you sure you just didn't have them? They didn't catch them? 6 at once.
It's because I didn't go to the dentist for a year or 2 years almost. Because when I was here, I didn't have a dentist. And
maybe the soda intake crept up over that couple of years.
Oh,
it's 100%. Candy too. It's not just soda.
I've cut basically all the candy out too. But I am soda free tomorrow, 1 month. Which
soda
they say
free.
Sobriety.
They say
soda free.
21 days.
Soda sobriety.
I saw 21. I saw 28.
21 days to make a new habit.
I saw 365. I don't know. I saw a lot.
That is, I commend you.
Yeah.
That is very difficult to do, and that's great.
Yeah.
Good job, Brock.
I didn't, I didn't prepare for this one, which is unlike me. So how do we want to close this out? I mean, what are we thinking? What are y'all taking away from our? I tell you what I'm taking away is for anyone out there, ourselves included. If you have a long day and you can take a step back and realize that most of it is internal issues that you have got in your own head, call a friend, talk to your wife, pray, talk to your husband if you have a husband, or your wife or whoever. Talk to a friend, someone, pray, get in the Word, and get out of your own head, because that's what we all did. We all were in our own heads today. We came here, we read Scripture, we talked to each other, and I'm walking away so much more encouraged.
Same here. I got nothing to add to that.
Yeah, I think you did well.
All right.
Closing it out.
Hopefully next time we don't come in so down. We can come in positive.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, good stuff.
Peace. Hey guys, this is Blayne, one of the hosts here at Entrusted. We are really grateful you chose to spend some time with us today. We know you have lots of options, and we hope that the thoughts and the messages from this talk we had with our guests really propelled you to explore the design that you were created for. The best ways to support us: check out our socials, like, subscribe, leave a review, tell your friends, family, coworkers, neighbors. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we hope you'll tune back in next time.